everybody. Welcome to Manhood Monday on Theta TV. My name is Khalil Young. I'm a Spring 20 initiate into the mighty Theta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. Before we get started today, let me allow the brothers who are in attendance tonight to introduce themselves.
How y'all doing? My name is Nick McFadden, a Spring 20 initiate of the mighty Theta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Good afternoon. My name is Damon Lindor. I'm a 2020 initiate of the mighty Chi Theta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Hey y'all, my name is Tariq Seymour. I'm a Spring 2020 initiate of the mighty Chi Theta chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Alright, so for our first topic on Manhood Monday, we're going to be talking about media versus reality. So let's hop right into it. From the perspective of most scholars who focus on this topic, there's a clear, casual story that links media representations of black men and boys to real-world outcomes. Throughout various forms of media, I've noticed that negative associations are often exaggerated. Perhaps the most discussed pattern is the association between black males and criminality, particularly in television news, where they are not only likely to appear as criminals, but likely to be shown in ways that make them seem particularly more threatening. Blacks are overrepresented as perpetrators of violent crime when news coverage is compared with arrest rates. African Americans are also disproportionately represented in news stories about poverty, and these stories tend to paint a picture that's particularly likely to reinforce stereotypes and make it hard to identify with black males. In the entertainment media as well, these and other associations continue to be systematically perpetuated. Analysts have gone into great detail about the way in which the negative images of black males continue to be used for entertainment purposes, whether throughout traditional imagery of black inferiority or by using black male characters disproportionately to represent both the victims and perpetrators of violence. More generally, scholars find that images in the media have a negative impact on black people's perceptions of self and of their communities. Though there is no shared consensus of or on how exactly this plays out, various mechanisms may be at play. So my question is, what mechanisms do you guys feel are at play here?
I think the mechanisms that are at play here are negative stereotypes within the media concerning black men or men of color or minority men. The media tries to relay this image that we had to live this certain lifestyle to even be successful within this country and to even be able to survive. Like that's the entertaining aspect of our culture, like being involved in criminal activities and being thugs, quote unquote. That's what's popular, and that's the thriving identity that they try to paint on top of us, when that's not representative of the people who are actually in our communities, who are actually on the ground, like trying to make changes in their lives and actually do things with their lives. And I think that there's just a disproportionate thought process, not only from people outside our community and how they look on the outside in, but also on our own self-esteem and how we look at ourselves and what we think we have to do to be, cool within the society, or
I definitely agree. It's like the thug and criminal behavior is demoralizing, and it's reducing the self-esteem and expectations of our community.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick, what mechanisms would you feel are at play?
Well, I mean, at least for me, a part with the media aspect of it all is that, players, NBA players and, rappers are kind of glorified in our society and within the media, such as the Jay-Z's and the LeBrons, which they are great in their own right, don't get me wrong, but, some people have made strides in education as well, such as Benjamin Mays and Richard Allen, which they were pillars within the community, and, they came from humble beginnings and struggled to get, to a pinnacle point in their lives where I feel like, that's something that needs to be talked about and glorified as well.
You know what I think? I think there's really just a lack of positive role models for black men in the community. Mm-hmm. Like just overall, like we glorify people like Warren Buffett, but we have Robert Smith who's investing in the same thing in the industry. We have lawyers and whatnot that are doing well. We have Boone and Crump. And we have people that are very big pillars in our community, and we just seem to glorify all our time and energy towards celebrities and towards athletes just because it's like the hot topic of the moment. I just feel like when we sit down and like look into our community and actually build upon the people that are helping the community and being successful in the community, I know nowadays we're starting to see more rappers and athletes start to trend more towards helping the community. But like, you gotta understand that it's not realistic that everyone goes to the NBA.
Yeah, everybody can't be like, you know, Odell Beckham or LeBron James, and I definitely agree. Like, the most common role models depicted in the media are often rap stars or NBA players, and it's like limited and it's not realistic for everybody. And like more of the positive and realistic role models, they're really lacking in the community. And I will say that that's something that the media definitely like puts out there and is plaguing the community. Another thing that I've noticed is that oftentimes the media doesn't show us or tell us everything. They often have missing stories. The media are principally in the business of storytelling, whether through journalism, fictional narrative, and entertainment, reality TV, and even advertising like games and music videos. Some analysts have tried to look not only at the kinds of characters that black males do or do not play, but also the kinds of stories that are told about them or not told about them. So with that being said, knowing that the media chooses not to show us and tell us everything, what does this portrayal of black men in our society promote?
I feel like patterns within the media and portrayals kind of exaggerate this criminality within the black community that's actually not that realistic. I know majority of the people in my family, they're within their industries, like they're professionals, they're not criminals. I feel like it's just important that we highlight people, you know, within our own families, like, you know, within our own groups of people that we are comfortable with, that are actually doing positive things in their life, are contributing to the world, contributing to community, and are not like practicing this lifestyle that American culture tends to depict black people as. You know, within movies, within the news, that's all you see is the violent, you know, gang involved black man. That's not real life. Like, a lot of us are actually very successful within our careers, and that needs to be highlighted.
So Nick, what do you feel is being promoted through this portrayal of black men in our community?
For me, it's showing a one-sided aspect of it all. Instead of focusing on the main issues that is from the day-to-day, like structural issues, or from the system, or the absentee father aspect of it all, which, you know, all plays an important part throughout all the portrayals that the media puts out. And at least that's what I see.
Okay, so you're saying, like, essentially, like, absent fathers and like other structural things that are more important are not getting enough attention because the media is portraying something that's pushing their agenda, and they're using the storytelling, you know, business side to make us feel
Focus on that one thing instead of.
Amy?
I mean, personally, I feel like nowadays with media, they always push this agenda. So we have things like the Black Lives Matter movement, which brings a lot of awareness to issues and whatnot. And we see it in every facet of our life nowadays with the NBA, we see it with the NFL. We see, oh, they're doing this, oh, they're doing that. But then when you really look at it, it's like once these millionaires go off the field and whatnot, they just go home and like they go about their day. But like when you see how after the Black Lives Matter movement took swarm and now the NBA is jumping on the bandwagon, now they pledge to do this, that, and the third, and then by next year we'll see it all for naught. And then we really miss the point that the whole point of this movements are for, to gain effort and to make awareness for stuff. But people just try to join the trends, and they just try to join the hashtags, and they just try to follow the bandwagon. And it's trendy.
Yeah, I agree. It's essentially causing public support for like small approaches to these problems. Like the public's hopping on it to say
just to say we talked about
I'm a part of the movement, and you know, like I'm down for the cause, but the cause is these small approaches to actually, you know, taking a step to solving these problems.
I mean, it's more convenient to just make a banner that says, you know, Black Lives Matter, and, you know, say all these victims' names, but not actually take the legislative approaches and the fundamental economic approaches to solving certain problems within our community. It's convenience at the end of the day. It's gonna it's gonna appease people for the movement.
And everyone just wants to take photos with banners, and everyone wants to just take photos with pickets, signs, and fences, and everyone wants to just look like they're doing something, when in reality, the big change that we need to see on the day-to-day happens every day in everybody's lives. And there are kids out there who don't have role models, who don't have the proper support they need, and their only source of guidance is the media. And it seems like the media is pushing all these agendas and pushing all these narratives that aren't really helping when it comes to the black community.
Yeah. Really.
So based on what we've talked about so far with the media's selective portrayal of men in our community, how much do you trust the media and what it puts out?
I feel like you had to really take everything with a grain of salt. You can't believe everything that you see. You had to actually do your research and do your due diligence and finding out, what the problem was, what's the root cause of it all, and just not to take it, with a bird's eye view, So at least that's for me, from my viewpoint.
I think realizing that there's multiple sides to every single situation, argument is really important. Like piggybacking off of what Nick said, it is really important to do your due diligence and do research on the things that are important, that affect your life. And even though it may not seem like it's manifests itself physically in your life every day, there are, fundamental systematic things happening within our country that we need to pay attention to, and that we need to take proper actions towards, like voting, exercising your right to vote, being at general body assemblies at your local government. Like those small things, they add up.
I trust the media to give me overarching posts and general stuff about what's trending. I don't really trust the media when it comes to like my day-to-day life. In that regard, I would rather just ask an expert on the subject matter, or I'd ask somebody who I personally see about this subject matter. Because personally, there's a lot of things that happen. There's a million different aspects of every single person's life. And I don't trust the media to give me the proper information for every single one of those aspects. I really just don't. So I normally just like lean on professionals, lean on discussion boards and places like that, where I could find mutual opinions on both sides. Like whenever it goes to any article or something in the news, I would first look at Fox, then look at CNN, or look at both sides of the argument just to see who is going to give you the most compelling research and the most sources.
I definitely agree. And like you said, I myself don't really trust the media to give me an accurate representation of any story.
At all.
So my advice, do your research.
Do your research.
Please
do your research.
Read. I've also noticed that positive associations are limited. As discussed earlier, even when black males are presented sympathetically, they tend to be absent from some important roles, such as fathers and parenting situations that audiences can relate to. On the other hand, black males are highly visible in other types of roles that can be considered positive. In the world as depicted by the media, blacks frequently excel in sports and more generally are associated with physicality and physical achievement, as well as the aggressiveness that usually goes along with this type of success. Due to the negative associations and limited positive associations from the media, what practical consequences do you guys think play out in the lives of black males?
I think the practical consequences of the negative portrayal of black men within the media, it comes down to the professional industrial side of the black community. I feel like we lose a lot of talent within our school systems because they don't believe that they have the aptitude or the talent to succeed within their education because of what they see within the media and how and that impression on their self-esteem, on their own identity as young black men and women, on what they need to be successful in this life. I can remember a time in my life when I was younger, I didn't think that I would be able to, get to the stage I'm at now and to go to college, that I didn't have the aptitude to do so. But when you apply, effort and you focusing on the things that you want to do with your life that can be productive, you can help other people with, I think that's more important. That we need to focus. It's an important thing we need to focus on.
Yeah, education is definitely a consequence that stems from the negative portrayal of men in the media. So, Nick, what do you think is a consequence that stems from the negative portrayal of men in the media?
For me, I focus on more of the health and life aspect of it all. The constant stress of always looking over your shoulder. You don't know when the next day will be your last. So that's one thing where it's kind of like you got to really focus on and take it day by day because you never know.
What about you, Damien?
I feel as if when you're constantly bombarded with such media attention and the media constantly portrays you in a certain light, you just really lose your sense of self, and you really lose the individual aspects of you that make you feel different and stand out. Like if you're a little bit weirder or a little bit quirkier around the edges, society will try to put you into a box, and because media is showing you these certain boxes and categories that you're supposed to fit in, you tend to lean towards that, or you tend to round about the edges so that way you can fit into the boxes that society and the media is showing you that you're supposed to fit into. Like let's say that you wanna play chess or something, and then you see that you don't really see any famous chess players that look like you. So now you do see famous football players that look like you, famous musicians. It's like those industries are filled with them. So you tend to remove yourself from the standard that you feel like that you'd be good for yourself, and the media pushes you towards things that they want you
into society's vision for you.
Yeah. So you lose your sense of self because you're just trying to fit into what society has projected upon you.
It's like a man box.
Like a man box. So now that we've all given our perspective of how men are portrayed in the media, we actually wanted to give you guys some advice on how to curb these negative effects that stem from the media's negative portrayal of black men in society.
I feel like the best thing that you can do when it comes to even interacting with the media on a daily basis is to just, be aware, as we've reiterated multiple times in the video, do your research for real, and be aware of the things that you're speaking on and the things you're consuming within your brain, within your life, because that's going to affect your view of life in the world that you're living in. And knowing the truth is the most important thing at the end of the day.
For me, I would say, no matter what the media puts out there, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone, because that makes you a better person at the end of the day.
I'd like to say, just be yourself, honestly. Just understand who you are as a human being. Understand what people have taught you. Think about your parents. Would you be making them proud? Think about the people that's in your community. How are you helping your community? And does this have an adverse effect on your community? So there's everything on the media that you'll say, good, bad, and ugly. Just be yourself and understand that your action has consequences, and make sure that you're doing what's the best of your community and people around you.
I agree. I'm actually going to agree with Tyreek. Do your research. Research works wonders.
And read.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching the first episode of Manhood Monday on Theta TV. Stay tuned for more content and to see what comes next. But before you go, be sure to leave in the comment section your favorite black movie or black film, TV show that has had a positive impact in your life. And with that being said, we out.